Hello, Ray Phoenix here, and welcome to Let's Play Spyro 2 Ripto's Rage, Part 2. This is the Summer Forest. This is the first homeworld of the game, and it's a pretty large homeworld. It's lot to explore around and find a bunch of gems and hidden goodies. Spyro can just swim on the top of water, like on the surface of water, but he can't actually dive down into the water yet because he doesn't have that ability. It requires an additional ability you have to buy from money bags. Of course, we're going to buy it from money bags. Who else would we buy it from? One-ups in this game are pretty much always collected for the form of those butterflies, because enemies work differently in this game than they did in Spyro 1, so there's no, like, collecting so many of those things you got from enemies you already killed and got gems from, because you don't get any of that, because you don't get any gems from killing enemies in this game. So Laura is giving us some more information about how we use those talismans against Ripto. You have to collect the talismans and the importance of the talismans. Her voice sounds familiar too. Sounds like that voice would narrate a computer guide or a computer tutorial thing in 1999. It also sounds like some student teacher that would conduct one of the what do you call those things, at the observatory, or what do you call the planetarium, where they would like narrate what we see in the planetarium. So like, oh, this is an astronomy cluster, this, or a constellation cluster, star cluster, nebula such and such this, or nebula that, and then around planet this, and around star system Centauri, Alpha Centauri, Orion, whatever it is, whatever how many star clusters exist. Until there's a sheep. Of course, sheep would give us health just like they did in the first game. I'm pretty sure the same sheep were probably in the first game as well too. They may have reused the model for that. There's one of the levels, the Idle Springs level. But to get that level 100% complete, it would involve learning how to swim, which we don't have that ability yet. But we can earn it from money bags right there. We can buy it off of him for 500 gems. And we have nowhere near that many gems. So I'm just going to run around and collect as much gems as possible. I think the denominations are still the same as they were in this game. And Hunter is going to teach us about gliding and stuff. They actually made like a mini game out of this. Well, it's not really a mini game, but you do get an orb for doing this if you do all this challenges of gliding. Oh, jump over to here to do this and jump there. And jump and how to press X. And they actually did add a new mechanic to this. The physics do feel slightly different in this game with gliding, and if you actually get to glide, you press the triangle button and do like a nice gentle hover. The triangle button doesn't make you abruptly fall down to the ground like it did in Spyro 1 with gliding. This game actually allows you to hover, so you can actually reach slightly larger or slightly further distances in this game. I was still mesmerized by how awesome this game was. There's like a huge hub world system. I mean, some of the first games I played with had hub worlds, and them were like Lego Star Wars, a video game, or Lego Star Wars 2. And this game, I mean, the hub worlds in this game are like far superior to they were in those games. This game was a PS1 game that came out many years earlier. That's why this is really impressive. I still think this game is very impressive to this very day. This is where we're starting to get to a point where video games have like advanced to a point where what more can you possibly do with video games? How can video games possibly become any more advanced than this? That's part of the reason why I don't own very many new systems to this day. Why play the new systems when old systems do the trick pretty much? It's kind of like that old saying of, why watch many show and just one show do trick? Car no go. Or something like that, like why watch many show and few show do trick. I was watching that show earlier today on my computer, The Office. I got some DVDs of it for my birthday last week at the local thrift store. I actually watched it on my computer using my Dell optical disc drive, DVD CD disc drive I have on my computer. I rarely ever use that drive. I actually often forget it exists. I think a lot of people forgot that computers once had CD, DVD drives in them, and they could be used for playing, music CDs and DVDs and stuff like that. I really think people kind of forgot we do have computers, but I was reminded of that today, and it actually works pretty good with playing those DVDs. So it's like I have another DVD player with me that I could, play DVDs. It's kind of hard to carry around though, because it's an external drive that connects through USB. A lot of people don't use DVDs anymore for that reason. And money bags is being cheap and greedy again, making us pay for stuff. So we're going to head off to Colossus. Yes, named after a very popular X-Men character, Colossus, that appeared in X-Men The Last Stand. And that movie came out about a year before I got this game. I actually got this game, the full game of it, in 2007. And these parts are really impressive. Every level of this game, except for Glimmer, that's the first level of the game, has all these little animations that plays before and after the level, like a storyline kind of thing, showing what's going on in the level. Stuff depicting that they're in danger from some sort of Yeti thing that's terrorizing their people. Some things actually can be quite hilarious. There's a lot of friends. I used to describe these to friends a lot. People used to think it was something out of an obscure TV show. But it's not, it's Spyro too, unless Spyro had his own animated series at some point. But I doubt that. I don't think Spyro ever had an animated series. I thought Crash Bandicoot may have had one at one point, but it was actually a cutscene through one of his later video games. Not a video game, but it's not uncommon for video games to have animated shows based on Spyro. Definitely could have had an animated series based on it. It's good enough for that. I'm just gonna run around here and collect all these gems and colossus. The music is kind of odd in this level. Sounds like someone is singing, like someone just came up with a random thing. It all sounds like someone's just randomly singing sounds that came to mind. It's like scat singing kind of thing, but it sounds more like they're mumbling almost too. Kind of like that Chacarone Macaron song where he just says random stuff. That actually make a pretty good password for my computer. I wonder how you'd write the lyrics to the Colossus music from this game out on paper. Kind of hard to hear in this video though, but if you actually just listen to the music, it sounds like Stuart Copeland may have been, I don't know, is it Stuart Copeland singing that, or maybe you got someone else to sing that, or maybe it's the computer singing it? I count as getting someone else to sing that. So these things, these what you call these things, these guys are quite magical. They can like sing and make things fly or float or stuff like that. It's actually more impressive than a lot of the magicians in real life. I like that lame magic show I wrote about in that episode of Odyssey of Oddities, where I was like, oh, I'm gonna use my magic and pretend this thing is flying, pretend this is happening.
Take care of large enemies.
I think that's lame magic show. You have to suppress pretend that something is happening. These enemies are too large to charge into. And Zoe's just going to explain to us how the spirit particle stuff works. I already explained this in the first video. I think we kind of already figured it out by now. Most of the kids playing this game aren't dumb. They could figure out games easy. I was able to figure this out back in 2007 when I first got a real copy of this game. I actually figured out how to play this easy. So if my 10-year-old self could figure out how to do this, I'm pretty sure, just about anyone possibly could. I figure out how to play this game. I mean, I never read instructions. I mean, I did get the instructions of this game, but I never read the instructions a lot of the time before I play a video game. A lot of people don't. They just like to, play the games. You learn how to play a game by playing the game, of course. And when I actually read the instruction book, I just one day thought, I'm just going to go look for the instruction book and maybe I'll, find some cool surprises here. I actually did find a surprise. I found out there's a free playable demo of Crash Team Racing in Spyro 2 Ripto's Rage. I played Crash Team Racing. That was the first time I actually played, because I also had a demo for Crash Team Racing on that same demo disc that Spyro 2 is on. It doesn't never seem to work for some reason. Some demos I had and some of those discs never. It would select it and it would just go to a black screen. It would permanently stay fixed on a black screen and would never progress past that. Yeah, little PS1 memories, kinds of things modern kids today would never understand. How awesome the PS1 was. Its infamous plain black screens where you can't tell if your TV's still working or not.
Remember Hunter's advice.
This is also the first Spyro game, I think, where Tom Kenny voiced Spyro. That's right, the same guy that voiced SpongeBob SquarePants voices Spyro in this game. And no, he's not the same guy that played R2-D2 in Star Wars. That was Kenny Baker that did that. And Kenny Baker's dead now, I think. Yeah, he did. He died in 2016, the year that's famous for killing off so many people. So many people died in 2016, and someone made a work of art that was like the front cover of the Beatles' Sgt. Pepper album, but instead of it being the Beatles and all those other people that were appeared on the front cover, instead it's all the people that died in 2016. I never really liked that year that much when I was in 2016. I really liked it that much as a year. But later I realized, it's a lot better than I originally gave it credit for. Actually, it's a pretty good year overall for the most, overall, like I said, way better than I originally gave it credit for. It's like it's suffering from the Star Wars sequel trilogy effect. Before the sequels came out, everyone hated the Star Wars prequels. But now the sequels come out, people suddenly like them again. People suddenly, I think people liked them before. People did kind of like them before. I never really knew anyone to hate the Star Wars prequels when I was a kid. It wasn't until I was a teenager when I started to hear people hating the Star Wars prequels. But everyone knew when I was a kid, loved them. The first Star Wars prequel came out in 1999, the same year as this game. I have a lot of fond memories of 1999 and all of the different games that came out then, like this game, the original Ape Escape, Jumping Flash free, Wipeout free, Gran Turismo 2, Sega Rally 2, Donkey Kong 64, the original Smash Bros. One of the most wanted pieces of lost media right now, Slamfest 99, was filmed in 1999 and hence the name Slamfest 99, and I think it might very well be one of the most wanted pieces of lost media, and I really have been interested in lost media lately, and I am going to be making some videos on that. On lost media, my own personal lost media stories, because no one else provided coverage of them. If no one else provides coverage of something, then maybe that's my cue to make my own coverage of something, make my own videos about lost media and about lost media. I kind of did that same thing when I uploaded the soundtrack to the PlayStation Developers demo disc, and when I uploaded the soundtrack to the PlayStation Pix demo disc from 1995, because no one else did that, so I did it then, because, like I said, just because no one else did. So if they're going to be playing hockey right now, yeah, hockey apparently is really big in the Colossus Valley. It's a really popular sport. We have that thing go there. And first we have to shoot, we have to take the puck. Spyro's going to use his new spitting mechanic to fit the puck. Somebody could magically fit that hockey puck in his mouth. What are you looking at, you hockey puck? He's going to put it into his mouth. It fits in his whole mouth somehow. Then you can shoot it out into the past the goalpost and score a goal. This is the first part. There's 2 hockey challenges, 2 hockey minigames. I guess you can call it the first real minigame you encounter in this game. At least I think this is the first real minigame you encounter. Playing hockey in the Colossus Valley. In this game, I mean, this really does go to show how innovative this game was. This was a very innovative game from its time. It's not just jumping flash where you just do the same thing in every level, run through levels and collect stuff. Like in the original Spyro, all I ever really did in that game was just run through every level of the game and collect a bunch of crap. And sometimes you get treated to a flight level, which are called speedways in this game, to, mix up a bit. And sometimes you fight bosses too, but that was about it. This game really does, add a lot more depth, a lot more, which is what, makes this game really good. It's like, this game very much is like what a Nintendo game is known for. So they put a variety of gameplay into it, and so many gameplay mechanics, like in Super Mario 64 is a good example of that. So they really were like, and this game really is the reason why the PS1 beat the N64, because of games like this. This is by far, I think this is my favorite PS1 game pretty much. I think it's one of the greatest games in the PS1. Some people think the PS1 was overrated. People that say that clearly never played this game, or any of the other Spyro games, or Ape Escape, or Jumping Flash, which I played those games a lot in 2007 as well too, around the same period of time where I'd be, playing this and stuff. That's why I associate a lot of these games with 2007, which was, of course, a personal association. A lot of people didn't even consider PS1 to be retro back then. I know the AVGN didn't. The AVGN disagreed that PS1 was considered a retro system back in 2007. That was also the same summer where Mr. Bean's Holiday came out in theaters. I remember seeing that movie in theaters, even though no one I was with seems to remember it too. Some people even suggested maybe it predicted the outcome of the movie with uncanny accuracy. Yeah, I was reminded about Mr. Bean a while ago. I got access to Netflix last weekend, and I watched Man vs. Bee, or Mr. Bean gets a job being a house sitter, which I had a job being kind of like a house sitter or a cat sitter. I had to cat sit my mom's friend's cat. So it's kind of like, it's like a similar idea of cat sitting. I actually first watched that show when I was in Windham about a year ago, Windham, Western Australia, and I watched Man vs. Bee. Watching Mr. Bean. Mr. Bean's still doing his typical antics. He wasn't actually a character as Mr. Bean, but I wish there were more episodes of Mr. Bean than just the 14 or 15 episodes that we got back in the day, which I still have all on DVD, and I got those back in 2007. I wonder if 2007 is going to hold a record for the year I did the most amount of stuff in, or had the more stuff than I ever. I know it's not the longest year I've ever been in, because the longest year I've ever been in is 2024, because I technically started it before anyone else in North America did, and yeah, it's kind of confusing. Yeah, 2024 is technically the longest year I will ever be. 2023 is technically the shortest year I've been through as well too, due to time zone differences and crossing over time zones. It's kind of funny. Crossing over time zones is like time traveling in real life. Real life time travel. What if they ever thought of making a Spyro game have time travel in it? That would seem pretty interesting, actually. I know there's a Sonic game that had time travel in it. Sonic CD. Some people think Sonic CD is the best Sonic game ever. It's also a very confusing game as well, too. I never owned a Sega CD before, so the only way I could really play Sonic CD was in the Sonic Gems collection for the GameCube. I could actually think of my Sega CD emulator to work to work on my Fusion 364. I noticed I could play on that too, along with some of the other few good Sega CD games like Star Wars Chess and other crap that came on the Sega CD. Look at that, that Yeti just killed himself just by jumping. How anticlimactic was that? He jumped and that thing broke from the ceiling. He's obviously very dumb, of course, because, well, you obviously didn't notice that it could fall and crush him and it flattened him. I don't know, maybe he's like a character who framed Roger Rabbit or Looney Tunes where he could just, reinflate himself and come back up afterwards. I mean, it's not uncommon for dead characters or dead villains in the Spyro series to come back from the dead afterwards for no apparent reason. I mean, I wonder how the logic of that kind of stuff works in Spyro's universe. There's more gems to collect over here. There's a lot of gems. It actually is possible to get this level 100% complete the first time going through the level, which is why I chose this level over Idle Springs, because now we're going to have enough gems after this, so we can buy the swimming ability, so we can go to Idle Springs and get Idle Springs 100% complete on the first time around, or mostly complete at least the first time around, without having to do any backtracking. I'm still trying to play for this and doing as little backtracking as possible. Speaking of backtracking as well too, I actually yes, a few days ago, I actually got one of my greatest gaming challenges ever. I made an achievement. I watched a guy called Frogger Sis do a video where he had to play Lego Star Wars: The Complete Saga 100% complete in under 24 hours, and he did it in 23 hours and 58 minutes, and so I took on the challenge, and I did the whole thing in 21 hours and 58 minutes. I actually beat Frogger Sis by about 2 hours, so that's actually a pretty impressive achievement. I think I posted it all over Discord, and I posted it on Instagram. So yeah, everyone knows about my accomplishment at this challenge. My mom kind of freaked out at first, because she thought it was going to involve me actually sitting in front of the TV and actually playing the game for 24 hours straight for having to leave the game. But no, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to sit in front of the game for 24 hours straight. I don't think anyone could ever do that without losing their sanity. I would lose my sanity if I did that. I would also lose control. My neck is too, so my neck is broken a lot of the time, and it barely counts as being functional, which is why I have a nice ergonomic chair now, a nice ergonomic computer arrangement now, so simply because of my neck. I'm probably going to need neck prescription or some sort of like neck prescription bed or something like that, or a pillow for that or something like that. Supposedly the Tourette's guy has something like that too. The Tourette's guy supposedly has neck problems too, which is apparently why I don't know if that's anything to do. I mean, the neck actually is a more important part of the body than a lot of people realize. I think the people who made this game realize that, because Spyro's neck is quite long and sturdy looking. It never breaks like it does in Spyro 4. Spyro 4 is filled with broken physics and broken graphics and stuff. This game actually has really good graphics, and the game is, very obedient in this game. And I actually find Spyro was slightly clunky, not really overly clunky, but it was slightly kind of wonky a little bit, the controls of it in Spyro. I mean, Spyro 2, they're a lot more well polished, but here's the Ratchet and Clank series kind of did the same thing. Ratchet and Clank had kind of wonky controls a little bit in the first game, and the sequels kind of improved that. Yeah, you wouldn't really notice if that was a correction or not. If you ever just played the original and only the original, you don't even really think that was a flaw unless you played the sequels. I did play the sequels first before actually playing the original Ratchet and Clank. Same with Spyro. I actually played Spyro 2 first, then afterwards I went to play Spyro 1, and then I waited a long time before I got Spyro 3. I asked my father for that game for Christmas back in 2011. And I was looking at eBay listings of the game, and he's like, okay, I'll go buy you Spyro free. It's a demo. Here, buy you Spyro free. A demo is Spyro. Like, no, I don't want a demo. I want the full game. Okay, here's the UK European version of the game. We'll probably play on your... No, I don't have a UK European PS1, so I won't be able to play that. First of all, he's gonna buy me a European copy of the game, or he's gonna buy me a demo. If I don't want a frickin' demo of Spyro free, most of the games I had as a kid were demos. I was glad when I actually started getting full games. I'd rather have a few really good full games than a lot of demos, because demos get boring after a while. The full games are, the full game's the full thing. But demos are a great way to discover new games and figure out if you like new games or not. It's actually how I discovered a lot of the games I know of and learned about a lot of the games I know of, including this one. So that's partially how demos are actually responsible for why I'm doing this Let's Play right now. This is Ray Phoenix signing out.